My name is Tami Mabija, a newly appointed head of the Department for Economic Development. I've only started in April 2021 in the department. I'm quite excited to be part of this SMME roadshow because I think our focus really needs to be on the SMMEs. Look, the province is doing very well in terms of planning its big infrastructure projects, but these infrastructure projects, they're going to need a lot of SMME to support those sectors. As you know, we are industrializing. Most of our industrial area that we're working on is on our N14 corridor that actually starts in the JTG area, to be specific, in Kalahadi, getting into Uppington. We're putting an industrial park, and then we're into Gamsberg, where we're putting up an SEZ, and then also we are in the process of also putting together and finalizing our plans for our port, which is in Bogobai, which is towards the end of our industrial corridor. So when all these industrial areas come on board and our SEZ manages to attract the necessary investment, all those will really need to be supported by SMME. That's why it's very critical that we really then start to prepare our SMMEs to participate in this journey that we're busy with in the province. It's an exciting time. Very soon, the province will be very busy with projects that will create jobs, the much needed jobs. But in doing that, we can't leave the SMMEs behind. Thanks. Now everyone will be moving that side. We are becoming the secunda for the new energy. As you know, a lot of the generation of energy is from that area. So once these projects, especially the green hydrogen one, which the president also talked about yesterday in the closing remarks at the ANC Lekgotla, to say that we are getting into this industry. But what's more exciting is also that we are also nicely situated where we can easily get them into the European market through our long stretch of the seaside, which is over 300 kilometers of shore. So we're going to use that advantage that we have to put up a port on the western side of the country, and that will take us into the European market. No, it's been quite hectic, especially moving after COVID. After the lockdowns, where people were not doing much, and now there's a lot of projects that we really need to accelerate to really make sure that we cover the lost time that we've lost during the COVID period. So this first part has been very exciting, but obviously there's a lot of unhappiness with employment figures in the country coming out of a lockdown. As you know, the country lost a lot in terms of its GDP, and everyone now is back on stream. All the companies are back on stream, and everything is moving very fast in terms of the recovery process. And the government has put together a program that is also going to accelerate what we're doing in the economy. So things have been very hectic, and I think we're going to be hectic up until the end of December. We're hoping that by that time we'll still have sufficient energy to really drive these processes. Look, when we discussed the issue of funding in the department, we used to have what they call the EGDF, which used to assist SMMEs with machinery. But machinery is not everything that runs a business. So you'll find that you can fund the machinery, but then there's also operational cost, there's leasing cost, there's salaries that you need to pay. So in our discussions with then the NEF, to say how can we then partner to make sure that we can fully fund the operations of SMMEs. We found them to be very, very agile on their side and quite efficient in terms of how they deal with applications. As you know, the NEF deals with providing loans to small businesses. So we thought let's combine these two funds, the loans that the NEF gives, and then the grant that we can give. But what the grant does to the SMME, it really then de-risks the whole process. Because when you put in a grant, it's almost like equity for the SMMEs. Most of our SMMEs, as you know, will not really have collateral, sufficient collateral for such loans. So we came in and said, let's then assess. So we've got this blended fund, 60% loan and 40% grant. So when SMMEs really apply for a loan, give an example, if they apply for 10 million, of that 10 million, 4 million of that is going to be a grant that then assess to de-risk the SMME itself, and also allows the SMME to also then have equity and be able then to relieve the SMME in terms of repayment of that loan. So that was the whole idea. But the idea was also then to stretch the amount that we have for grants and be able then to also fund SMMEs that are medium. And then we fund all kinds of SMMEs, brownfields, greenfields. The business plan must make sense. It must be a business that can be sustainable, because remember, you've got still a loan that attached that you still need to repay. The other part is that when SMMEs are allowed to take these loans, they also put skin into the game. It's not just a grant, you get the money, you don't even care how the business runs. It actually gives them some level of liability that they know they need to meet up certain objectives. But the good part about it is that all these SMMEs will be operating almost like in an incubation, where we will really monitor them very closely on a monthly basis. If there's issues in the SMMEs, we'll be able to pick them up very early in the process. And if we needed to change strategies or advise the SMMEs in terms of the markers that are out there, it becomes a little bit easier. So yes, we do fund all kinds of SMMEs, but as you know, we are focused on manufacturing, because manufacturing in its nature creates very sustainable jobs, because you'll be producing a product. In that product, there'll be benefits to all those that will be giving a service to make sure that that particular product is produced. So there is a biasness towards manufacturing, and as you know, our province is very big on farming, and then we also then focus on the agricultural sector to make sure that we can grow this. And this is one sector that is really not transformed. You've got very micro farmers there who are really farming for sustenance. We want to be able to can convert those into proper businesses where you can really make money and grow the business and create the necessary jobs that we need for the province. So the fund was launched in April, and to date we've received over 410 million rand worth of applications that we're currently dealing with. So originally in the fund, we contributed 30 million, and then the NEF brought in 45 million to create then a 75 million rand farm. For this current financial year, we are going to contribute an additional 30 million, and then the NEF will also bring another 45 million. So we expect that by December, this fund will be worth 150 million. So it's doing very well. So we are still committing into the next financial year, which is in 2022, where we're also going to then put in additional funds. So we are really encouraging companies from across the regions to really then come on board, make those applications. We are keenly awaiting those applications from their side. As you know, Francisbarth is the biggest in terms of population. We've got about 18 applications from Francisbarth. We've got from Zeta from Tawa, about 3 of them. Then we've got 6 from John Taule. And from John Taule, we actually expect more because in that area, there's a lot of SMMEs that are giving services to the mines that side. So we expect John Taule will come in very big as soon as they have all the information. And then we've got 10 companies from Namakwa, and then we've got 3 companies from Pixley. So you can see it's across the regions. So us is to just to go out there in the regions and make sure that all the regions are fully aware of this particular grant. And we're thinking that if we perform very well in this financial year, we're just going to grow this grant and make sure that we can support even many other SMEs. We had given grants before, and some of those businesses we can't even trace them anymore. So for us, what became clear is that because the failure rate is so high with SMMEs, we will really need to really handhold them and really make sure that they don't get lost in the system. Because some of the problems that they're experiencing are if they had received some solid advice, those businesses will still be here. So sometimes it just takes a call to say, I'm struggling with this. Can you just advise us how to do it? And we want to be there for these SMMEs to make sure that when they experience problems, because some of those problems, most of them are not really monumental. But if we know about it, at least we can do something about it to make sure that we can sustain it. Some of them just takes a little bit of partnering, some of them takes a little bit of opening up a market or talking to those who are responsible for these markets to make sure that the SMMEs can then have areas where they can link up in terms of the market. So the idea is that incubation is going to be really the way that we're going to go about, and it might differ from SMMEs. It might not be necessarily the same. For those who are really micro, we will want to manage them continuously. For those who can run their businesses, we'd like just to be there to give advice and also then to link them up with the markets, and also in terms of their inputs, where they get their inputs, and assist them to get better prices as well in the market. But the other market, as you know, is government itself. So we do have a policy that we put together. I would not call it a policy, but a framework that was put together by a provincial treasury, where it gives us then each and every department a target in terms of local procurement. And as you know, local procurement is it's not an easy subject, because local, in terms of the definitions that are there in the legislation, talks about South Africa. But when you talk to companies within the Northern Cape, they will tell you local, it's supposed to be Kimberley, it's supposed to be Uppington, it's supposed to be Springbok. So having to shuttle between the definition, the legal definition, and what we need to do for the locals, we have then put together the target for Northern Cape-based companies in terms of government procurement. So that framework then allows each and every department, including our Department of Economic Development, to then craft a policy in line with that framework and using those particular targets, and see how they should then spend. And as we speak now, our department spends about 80% on local SMMEs in terms of its procurement. The achievement for the province, I think, is standing at 60%. The idea is to bring it as close as possible to 100% and be able to provide most of the services from companies that are located within the Northern Cape, because that's where we must be creating the jobs. Yes, so how we've designed the grant is that the grant, you must be a company located within the Northern Cape, and you must be doing business within the Northern Cape. So we will encourage companies to move into the Northern Cape, come and set up here, create the local jobs. In that way, we can support them. Yeah, look, there's still a lot of construction going on in Soplike University. You'll remember that in the first phase, everything was really hurried up. in terms of meeting the targets with regards to the completion of the university. So as a result of that, there was a focus on the bigger companies. Most of the SMMEs that participated in there were subcontracting under a big construction company. So the second phase, it's a much more slower phase. It allows for then the university then to really then focus on the SMMEs where they can have direct contract with the university to build the residences that they are busy now, the sports fields that they are busy now. So those are the big construction jobs that they have. So most of the opportunities currently, as we speak, are actually in the construction part. But there is an expectation that after those residences have been completed, you will get companies that will provide other services, cleaning services, catering services, gardening services, and also managing those residences. So we do expect that, and those will be the longer term jobs. Most of the construction job that is there is very temporary. As soon as the construction is finished, those will remain under construction. Will those be that will be responsible for maintenance of the infrastructure, to make sure that the infrastructure is kept up to scratch. Yes, we are engaging with the university in terms of keeping us informed with regards to companies that they need in there, what kind of packages that they put together, and how many companies are they actually using there from the local companies that we have in the Northern Cape. So this project came in at the opportune time when our infrastructure spend as a province was actually going down, because there hasn't been a lot of infrastructure projects since the building of like your mental health, which was one of the biggest facilities that we needed to put the site. So it came at an opportune time for the construction companies, and after moving during COVID, most of the construction came to a stall, and now they are now allowed. So there is a lot of movement. There is a lot of jobs that are being created by that particular project. But maybe just to extend to say, just in our neighbor, in Postmansberg, we are there is a company there called Aqua that is implementing an IPP project. It's the biggest single renewable project that we have in the country. They plan to spend over 12 billion in that particular project. The project has just started in April. The ground has been cleared. At the peak of the project, towards this time next year, there's an expectation that there will be over 2,000 people on that site that will be employed there. So what we've done with Aqua, we've put together a steering committee where they report to us. Economic development is chairing that session. The other stakeholders involved there are the nearest municipalities, which is Tsantsabane and Kgatelopele, which is the Postmansberg area. So we sit in that meeting, and in that meeting we talk about what packages the main contractor needs to put up there, how many of those contractors are employed and are local. So they've put together zones between the two municipalities. They call it Zone 1. The one that extends to the region, they call it Zone 2. The one that extends to the province before they actually go to national companies, which is companies outside of the Northern Cape, then that's called Zone 3. So when a package is out, the first preference is given to Zone 1, which is the municipal area, companies within there. If we can't find a company, we move to the region. If we can't find a company in the region, we move to the province. Then we move to national. That system is working very well for now. And this is what we encourage as well for other private sector initiatives that are out there in the province. So we assess them to make sure that we've got those databases available, and in those databases, what kind of skill is in there. So the main contractor already knows to say, I've got 10 companies that can do this job in this particular area. So it works very well. We meet on a monthly basis. That's how intense that engagement is. And then we also then, depending on if there's issues with the SMMEs or they've got issues to raise, and then we filter that into that steering committee to make sure the main contractor understands the issues that have been experienced by these SMMEs. So similar arrangements that we have currently with supply key, we also have it with this particular project. So we're hoping that as we get into the other private sector projects in the province, we will be allowed also to advise and to make sure that our local companies do get those opportunities to give their services to those projects. Look, there's a number of programs that have been put together to develop skills. It's about artisans, developing artisans. In that space of artisans, as you know, a lot of the mines, they actually do need artisans, and most of them don't necessarily have the campuses to train this. So what we do, we recruit these artisans, we take them through the theoretical part of the training that they need to go through. Practically, then we take them to the mines to do those practical jobs, not just the mines, but even companies in Kimberley, electrical companies, and all like that. With the idea that once the artisans are finished, then the mines have got a list of qualified people that they can absorb. And then we've got learnership programs that we do with the sitters and the construction sitters specifically. And then we've got the short skills programs that we do for road maintenance. This financial year, something that's happening differently is that Public Works as a provincial department has now been assisting municipalities with infrastructure, especially the roads. As you'll know that most of the roads of the municipalities have been built 50 years back. Most of these roads are coming to end of life. There's a lot of potholes and there's a lot of complaints. Public Works negotiated then with National Public Works to say in the grant that they receive, let's get the view of flexibility because we are supposed to look at provincial roads. But the bigger need is actually within the municipal roads because most of those roads are finished. So there's a program there on road maintenance to make sure that we develop the skill that can be used locally to maintain some of these roads. And then we've got your innovation and empowerment that we're also doing on the side. As you know, our premier is quite apt about 4IR. So on the side, we then need to develop the necessary skill for this 4IR. And the one that's most exciting for the youth, it's actually then developing apps because, that's just another way of generating revenue. So the guys have been taught on how to develop these apps. And as you know, the university has got a degree in IT in relation to data management, which is a new skill that is actually required within the 4IR skill. So linking up with the university's curriculum at a lower level, then we develop also developers, app developers, through this innovative initiative. This we're not just doing in Kimberley, we're doing it also close to the SKA in your areas of Carnarvon. We're also going to be doing this in the areas of Namakwa, as an example. So it's quite difficult. So you've got those youth that will want to work, get into artisanship, those who don't make it to university. And then we've got those who just want to work from the computer and just play with the computer and not touch any dot. So we're trying to accommodate all those. But a chunk of our artisans really are then linked up to the mines. By the time they finish, they already have got jobs. That's how scarce the skill is currently in the market. So the Northern Cape Innovation Forum, it's a forum that was formed in partnership with the university. Currently, it's located in the university and is chaired by the vice chancellor there. That's how important this forum is. And obviously we link up with the departments of science and energy with regards to innovations. So what we did, it's a fairly new establishment on our side. It was launched last year, and then we involved the CSIR then to assist us to do a scan of the environment, because look, there are innovations happening whether we were there or not. Just to scan the environments, just to check the landscape, what kind of innovations are we involved in? You will recall that a region like Francis Bart, where Kimberley is located, used to be a very active mining area, but most of the mines have closed, and the mines have moved to the JTG region there, along Kuruman, Katu, and Postmansberg. So obviously this side, the Francis Bart area, innovations will then change, and the mining innovations are then located within the mining area. So there's new innovations coming on the site, and those are primarily in your IT space, because we don't have a big manufacturing or primary sector in this region. Yes, we do have agriculture, which is it's there, but where most of the people are located, which is in your Kimberley area, the big thing here is it's tourism, and getting really into the IT space. So some of the projects that we've started with, as I've indicated, one talks to the issues of mobile apps. Secondly, we are currently busy with the virtual industry, where this could be used by designers as an example to virtualize what you actually want to design. Here we've got SMMEs in the fashion industry. We've got SMMEs in manufacturing, because you also use that in manufacturing. So you can simulate these things even before creating the prototype. It allows for that. So we are busy with the university to see how we can have a permanent area where we can then factor in this visual, because the visual platform really will affect all kinds of SMMEs, and these SMMEs will then be able to can do better designs. They'll be able to even advertise their products much more easier. Um, so 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 that's what we're busy with the university. But we also got partners like the BMF, people that are involved in business, and then we try to rope in our business associations also to come in here. So it's a growing network that we're trying to grow to most of the big businesses in here, and then be able to can see how we can then inculcate these innovations. So very soon, before the end of the year, that report of the landscape in terms of what kind of innovations do we already find in this area, it will be tabled, and I think with that we'll then be able to can take it forward, so that we don't duplicate what already is out there. For those who don't know, we can just link them up with guys that already have got innovative ideas in terms of how to take further their SMMEs. Yeah, maybe just to finalize on the innovation side, we then also are introducing, and we've already started with 3D printing. That's currently located in Uppington. We've got a few printers there that we're using them to put together products. Tourism, it's a big thing in the province. As you know, we're busy with the tourism month. We are in tourism month. The tourism month has been launched. The national program is going to be launched on the 27th. Ours, we're going to launch it on Friday, but we've already started with our tourism program. This time of the year is is our flower seasons in the Namakwa area. So a lot of the programs are actually located within there. How we've changed things around tourism in the country was that for last year and this year, we're focusing on small dorpies and really promoting cultural tourism. Because with cultural tourism, and Northern Cape is sparsely populated, we've got small populations staying far away from each other, but there's a lot of culture that has been preserved in these areas. People are still living the way they used to live a few years back. Some of them have not really integrated with the current modern way of living. And there are some people who actually love that. There are areas in the Northern Cape, you go to Untitled Bay in those areas where they are totally not connected to the grids, whether you're talking about cell phone, whether you're talking about electricity. In fact, last week we had surfers, a competition of surfers that were surfing on that part of the world. It was the first time we hosted such a competition. We managed to attract this, and they laughed that you come there, you are out of the grid, you're gonna camp from your camping, you're gonna play on the water the whole day. So that's the kind of experience that we are showing this site, linked to our tourism theme of the province, which is extreme tourism and extreme sports. And last week, as we speak, we were going through a competition on skating and BMX rides. This competition is a South African competition. Last week we were in Northwest at the Sun City, and this is just a build up towards the epic the event, which is the finals that will be happening in Kimberley. The cup is called KDC Cup. In fact, through this cup, we managed to get three participants into the Olympics. As you know, that skating only started with the Tokyo Olympics, and we were able to produce two candidates, sportsmen and women that then participated there. That came out of this cup. As we speak now, we are formalizing the entire industry of skating because now skating is becoming a formal sport in South Africa, and we're hoping that the head office is going to be here in Kimberley because we've got all the facilities. But a place like Kimberley, which is a very old town, heritage tourism is what we're trying to promote to make sure we can preserve some historic areas. There's then the focus on this part. Our tourism, it's that kind of tourism that nicely fits even within the restrictions because it's outside there and there's sufficient space to do your social distancing. You don't have to be congested in a confined space. So we do a lot of those. There's a lot of interesting areas. Okrabis, as you know, the waterfalls that side, and as I've indicated, a lot of cultural tourism. We still need to develop quite a number of products in the JTG area. It's quite a rural area, but we think that with the cultural tourism, we should then be able to attract tourists into that part of town to go and learn about the history. You've got your Moffat mission in that area. You've got your Mutwas Muta was staying in that particular area. There's a lot of history in these areas. So we're still busy packaging for that area. The packages that are quite mature are the ones for the Namakwa area because those ones we've been doing for some time. But we are also assisting companies. As you know, this is one sector that has been hard hit by the lockdowns. There's a lot of SMMEs that are going down in this area. We're just happy that the court case that was put That was won by government, where government was trying to assist with in terms of grants in this area to assist those businesses that are struggling, just to make sure that even after COVID, we will still have the facilities available. We are also doing a lot of maintenance in our own facilities whilst they are not being used. And we've just opened up our theater in Kimberley. We're hoping that theater is going to be busy going forward. We know we are not as yet allowed to have big crowds, but based on the numbers of COVID and infections, we expect that way before December, all these the events will be open, and we should be able then to have the theatre fully operational. So we are campaigning on our side with our national departments to make sure that we can then allow for events to happen, because the event industry is almost dead now as we speak. And I mean, we really want to bring them back. And I think people need some excitement with all this COVID, people dying, people getting sick. We just think this year, before we close this calendar year, we should actually then have some way to celebrate our lives. So very soon, as soon as our infrastructure projects are about to be implemented, as we speak now, we are talking to the rural TVETs and the urban TVETs to prepare themselves for the industries that we bring in the site. The big one is in hydrogen, which is part of the green energy, which is called green hydrogen. So we are in discussions. We're hoping that next year, by this time, we'll have a lot of students that we're training to prepare themselves for these industries that we're going to get into. As we speak, public works, we're busy with a program in public works for the youth that we're training on renewable energy. That is really in preparation for a rooftop project that we're going to undertake on a big scale next year. This year, we're going to start with a pilot project where we're going to make sure that officers of government actually also then use renewable energy, put in rooftops, and make sure that we reduce the dependence on the ESCOM grid, where we've got this load shedding happening. We've got enough sunshine. We've got serious energy. In fact, this energy we're gonna start exporting some of it. I think we can't use all of it. That's why we're getting into green hydrogen. With green hydrogen, what you'll be able to do, you'll be able to have fuel cells using green energy, green hydrogen, and then you can also liquefy it and transport it and convert it on the other side and use it as energy. You can also store it into the future. You can produce the energy now, store it as green hydrogen, and use it next year or the year before. Part of it you can store it as ammonia. Part of it you can store it as a liquid. So we are moving into an exciting time when it comes to renewable energy. Remember our problem with as we speak now, batteries are quite expensive with regards to storing of this energy. But with green hydrogen, it's going to be so much easier than to store this energy. So even the future batteries that we're talking about are going to be hydrogen batteries, basically. That will be able to last even longer, and we will be able to use it in the future. As we speak, we are finalizing our green hydrogen strategy as a province. This strategy is going to be a precursor to the national strategy around green hydrogen. We've already been able to attract a big investor like Sasol, who's going to come in on the green hydrogen to put up a 10 gigawatt electrolyzer around the Bokubai area. That 10 gigawatt of electrolyzer needs about 10 gigawatts of renewable energy. So you can imagine the scale we're talking about. But the idea is that will just be a demonstration plant. We are actually moving to about a 20 gigawatt electrolyzer in that area. But once we are there, it will make it then cheaper to even use your water from the sea. Desalination, as you know, desalination is an expensive technology now, but with this green hydrogen, that desalination will just be about 1% cost. So once we get into that, it means that we'll have also sufficient water for the people in those areas. So we're excited about that. So we're talking about targets of 2025, 2030. By 2025, we should have started there in that particular area. So we are really looking at exciting times, and this is also going to be we will then be supporting what they call the just transition from coal into renewable energy. Because when you look at the number of jobs in the green hydrogen industry, we're talking about huge jobs that will really change the whole industry of energy in the country. So that's what's keeping me busy. Yeah, I think we're gonna move the population from where it's currently concentrated. The prices, Europe is prepared to pay the premium price, which is the 2025 price. But after 2025, getting into 2030, green hydrogen is gonna be cheaper because whatever you're gonna consume, they'll have to calculate how much emissions your carbon footprint. That will be priced in. So anything that's produced with energy that is not clean, there will be a tax on top of that. And that money is then going to make green hydrogen one of the cheapest because everything else, there will be a calculation. Whether you're going to be eating a sweet, there will be a calculation to say how much emissions this will create for you to have this particular suite. And the biggest users are going to be like your ships because they transport everything. It's going to be your flights. Those are the first one. As we speak, Maersk, which is like the biggest container company in the world, new orders in terms of ships. All those ships are going to be using green hydrogen to take them forward. And I think they'll be receiving a delivery of those ships somewhere there in 2025. So whoever is then going to move into hydrogen, your product will be given an extra tax. So for those who can't produce green hydrogen, they will have then to pay this extra tax because they'll have to pay for the emissions that they're creating. So we'll be going to COP26 and then we'll be launching the strategy alongside our the strategy. Then the strategy will then support our just transition from coal. And we're hoping that Minister Mantashe is going to speak our language as well. But we are talking to all of them. Look, I think the message that we really want to bring across is that it might have taken us time really to realize that SMMEs are really the future for our country. And if we need to transform this country, it's going to really start with SMMEs. So our entire focus, and this is a sector that is quite nimble, you are able to assist it, and we are also able to grow it over time. But SMMEs, they must really look into manufacturing. I know not a lot of them are really into manufacturing. There are a lot of products outside there. And I think COVID has demonstrated. I mean, we were not even producing masks in this country. So COVID has actually demonstrated that we can't be fully dependent on products being produced outside of the country. So we should be able to produce certain things, and as you know, National Department of DTIC has put together sectors and things that they will really want us to manufacture in this country. Then we don't have to import. Yes, it's a list of a thousand things. Yes, yes. Look, we are looking in terms of that as we've already picked up our hand for cells as an example, because we are so big in renewable. It just makes sense that because the most of the renewable energy projects projects are actually located in the Northern Cape, your IPPs, your wind energy products. So the consumption of those inputs into renewable energy, we want to manufacture them on this side of the part, on this part of the world, and with energy that we're going to be creating. So it means issues of energy are going to become so much easier. We'll have sufficient energy then to be able to manufacture that. We are talking to the mines. There is also a list that we've developed with the mines in terms of what they consume and what we can produce that they can already take off. The other exciting development is that we've managed then to attract Alexco, which is our government-owned mine, to come and sell their diamonds from Kimberley and bring back the sparkle to Kimberley. So currently they are selling on auction their diamonds in Johannesburg. We've requested them to come this side. We've signed a lease agreement. We've given them space in our diamond building where we've incubated a few companies, and we're also training a few companies in there. And there are other companies, small companies that are also selling rough in that environment. So with them coming in, I think it's just going to attract all the other small miners to come this side and make sure that they can sell their rough from Kimberley. So that part, we are very excited about it. It will bring us closer to attracting the state diamond company to actually relocate from Joburg and move the site. As you know, Kimberley is associated with diamonds. We just want to bring back that sparkle. We might not have a lot of diamonds, but we do a lot of aggregation. That we want to do a lot of aggregation. In that way, I think we'll also attract a lot of investors from outside the country that can come and buy here. And in that way, we will attract those business tourists into the area itself. And for additional, we have an investment booklet that we've developed that we update annually. We have it on our website, and then for those who really need a copy, they can call us. I'm gonna give my number towards the end, so that we can then share that investment booklet. Those are projects that are ready for investment, and that's really for your investors. But those investments, once they take place, SMMEs must be on the lookout to see how far those investments are, because this is where they can have proper link-ups in terms of what they are doing to be able to can supply those big industries. Yes, I must indicate it has been very excited to be part of this journey, especially making the SMMEs aware of all these opportunities, things that we're currently busy with. You are welcome to contact us on our website. Our website is current. All the contact details are in there. If you want to talk to me directly, you can call me on 081 3744 300. I will respond to your call and be able to guide you in terms of taking up these opportunities. Thank you.